Welcome back, and we are here with the team number 11. So wish them luck. The stage is yours.
All right, thank you very much. Hello, welcome. My name is Pavel, and together with Terka, we are here to introduce you our project that we made for Home Credit Company. In the beginning, I have a simple and maybe a little bit odd question. I think that it doesn't work, the presenter. I'm afraid that the slides aren't moving. Right, now they do. Thank you. So one more time. In the beginning, I have a simple and maybe a little bit odd question for you. Have you ever lent money to anyone? Well, I'm sure you did. And how would you feel if they didn't give you your money back on time? It's a kind of discomfort situation, right? You have to call them and urge them to pay. But actually, what is the right time when to call them? It's 1 day after they promised you to pay the money, or 1 week, or 2 weeks, or even a longer time after that. Well, we don't know the answer, but what we actually know is that our assigner, the non-banking company Home Credit, experiences this situation every day. Because monthly, they lend money to more than 50,000 people. And to make those people pay is not always easy. And that is why they turn to us for help with their problems that they have in their branch office in India. Maybe you are wondering why we should help them with solving problems in India. The answer is very simple. Because the international headquarters of Home Credit is settled there in Prague, and some members of our team actually works there. So they have close to this case. So for now, let's leave the historical city of Prague, let's leave Czech Republic, let's leave Europe, let's move a little bit easter to India.
So, this is Rajesh. Rajesh is a call center manager in Home Credit India. His department is responsible for enforcing debtors to pay by phone calls. That sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? But we wouldn't be there if there was no problem. Actually, Rajesh is under enormous pressure. Why? Because the expenses on his department are extremely high and top management wants him to reduce them. But this is not everything. Also, call center employees made a tremendous number of complaints that they are not able to call all people in overdue. To sum it up, they are too busy. And that's the problem, because Rajesh cannot hire new employees because that would raise expenses. And vice versa, Rajesh cannot fire employees to lower expenses because of calls amount. So what to do? Luckily, Rajesh came up with an idea. What about minimizing number of calls? Because employees would be happy, board would be happy, and Rajesh could be happy as well. But the question is how to minimize them. Before we move to solution, let's dive deeper in the current world of debts, debtors, overdue, and phone calls.
Well, there we can see the timeline of a debt cyclist. In the beginning, you got a loan. You have the money, you're happy, and you can bring your dreams to reality. By the time, you have to pay those money back to the bank in smaller amounts of money, the installments. When you do, everything is all right. But when you don't, you're getting yourself into problems and you're becoming an overdue debtor. In this moment, the story of the call center starts. And it starts rapidly by calling every single debtor until they promise to pay the installment. It costs money, it takes time, and it brought a lot of problems to Rajesh. So he would like to change the process somehow. As it was mentioned before, Rajesh has some ideas how to do it. First of all, he would like to sort the overdue debtors into 2 categories, to high-risky one and low-risky one. The high-risky clients are those who will probably pay the installment, who won't probably pay the installment until next due date. Whereas the low-risky clients are those who will pay the installment until next due date. But this sorting couldn't solve the problem at all, so there has to be another step. Rajesh would like to establish a week period when only high-risky clients would be called, and they should be called more intensively, whereas the low-risky clients wouldn't be called at all. So there is the adjusted timeline of a debt cyclist, where the 7-day period is pointed out. To summarize what we want to do, we just want to find the proper strategy how to treat a certain debtor on the first day when he becomes an overdue debtor. Now let's move to the data that were available. We got an anonymized data set with more than 200 variables. Those data held information about the clients, about the place where they live, about the salary that they have, about their date of birth or their zodiac sign. We also got information about the loan itself, about the total amount of the loan, about the number of installments that are remaining or that should be paid. As last but not least, we got information about the collection activities. For example, the number of calls that were made with certain client. It seems like we had enough data for our purposes, but actually it's not true. We had to create a bunch of new variables that we used in fitting our model and that helped us in getting better results. And speaking about the model, we should move to the actual solution. We have built the machine learning model using the Python's package of scikit-learn, where we focused ourselves on maximizing the values of accuracy, the model recall, and the joint coefficient. The target of our model were people who shouldn't pay the money to the bank on time. That means those should be the high-risky clients. To simplify it, we just want to know whether we should call or not to call, and that is the question. Well, but this was only the theory. Now, let's move to reality, to the results of the model. Among all 13 models that we used, the XG boosting classifier was the best one. On a sample of more than 5,000 records, we were able to reveal more than 80% of low-risky clients. That means those who shouldn't be called and who will pay the installment on time without calling. We were also able to find a 13% of high-risky clients who should be called more intensively because there is danger that they won't pay the money to the bank. Unfortunately, the 18% of results was misclassified. Now there we can see the key metrics of our model and also the confusion metrics for illustration. But this is only the model. This is something that has certain impact on reality. And this is also something that Rajesh from call center couldn't fully understand too. But what can Rajesh actually understand too are the savings. Let's see some numbers now. There, we can see the average cost of one call, and now the total amount of calls per 1 month. As a last number, we can see the total cost of all calls that are made in 1 month. This is the number that we should reduce. And we did it. We were able to reduce the costs of calls that were made during the first week by 90%. And that is something that Rajesh from call center could be really, really satisfied with. And it's also the point that brings us to the end of our presentation. So thank you much for your attention. Now I would like to invite the rest of our team there in front of you. If you have any question, feel free to ask. We are here to answer them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So do we have questions?
Thank you. What happens after the week? We get back to the normal situation that they are supposed to
there was the process before the implementation of the model was that all the clients were called. And after this 7-day period, they are called as well. Or the original process just continues after the 7 days.
So the same madness for Rajesh arises.
Well, it's not actually true because, this is the situation of only one group of clients that comes up on the first day. Yeah, and tomorrow there will be a new group of clients who are 1 day in overdue, and you have to find the proper strategy how to treat them. And this circle repeats until the end of the month. So every day you're lowering the number of the total calls that are made.
Okay. And have you implemented it already? And do you have some sort of test after a week, or what happens?
Well, we have tested it on different kind of data sets. That means then day after the day, and the results were pretty same on, as we showed there, the percentages. So we were able to minimize those numbers daily by this number of calls.
Do we know how many of those low-risk clients actually do not pay within the week?
You mean the number of those who were classified as low risky and they don't pay?
Yes.
Well, I think we should be able to say the number, but I don't have it in my mind. So if anyone else have.
Neither do I.
So, no.
Because if you look back to your numbers, it kind of doesn't add up to 100. And I was wondering what's happening with the rest.
Yeah. It's. I'll take it back. More. There. We can see that the 4,200.
I meant the 80, 30.
Yeah, I know. The 80% is this number divided by the total sum of the numbers in square. Yeah, that is that we were able to find 4,000 people that are low risky in real, and we were able to predict that they are low risky. Yeah, that is the 80%.
And we are able to track how many of them actually did pay within a week and didn't. That's what you said later, that you should be able to, but you don't have the number in your mind. Anyway, okay, skip 80, go 13.
Right, so?
Then 18 plus 13
Yeah, the
is 93.
18%, that's the number of, the high-risky clients. We predicted, or I have the pointer there, 100 of high-risky clients from the 9 or 880. Yeah, so this is the 80% of this sum. Because the actual number of high-risky clients is 880. And we were able to reveal 18% from this number. That's the 112 people.
Which includes 9 of those that were not classified either risky or low risk, right? If I'm not lost.
Yeah, that's it. You just said it.
Okay,
Correct.
thanks.
Thank you very much. Another question? No? Okay, I have one. Again. How will you process with I assume that you have some data about the client, some of their previous behavior and so on. How would you how do you assess the first-time customers with no previous history? Do you have some prediction modeling?
No, we just counted with the data that were available. So they're falling into overdue after some time. It's usually you have some data available about them. We work with it. So of course for some clients there were a longer history available and more data available. For some it was less data, but we didn't any predictive modeling or for those customers.
Okay, thank you. Another question? Okay, if not, thank you very much.